First of all, these boats, the reason we're using these little boats as opposed to a regular size canoe, a 2 or 3 person boat, is that they're versatile. They work very well for small waters like this. We're going to be on small streams, ponds, lakes. They're very light. These boats weigh, I don't know, probably 1/5, 1/6 of what you weigh. Very light to carry. You can lift them up with one hand, which you're going to see, one finger actually. Very easy to portage. There's not much to them. And as small as they are and as low as they are to the water, they're very stable. You can rock these things all you want and you're not going to tip. You can lean way over in the thing. Very stable. So once you get in the boat, just sit in it to start with and rock around to get a real feel for how safe and comfortable you're going to be. Some people are so jittery at first because they haven't been in a boat or haven't done much that's balance oriented, that they get stiff and they hold on and they end up tipping right over in. You've got to just loosen up your hips. All of the movement exercises we've been doing, here's a practical application. This boat, as you get comfortable with it, as you get used to it, it's going to be a second skin to you. You're just going to be here and you're going to be moving around. It's going to be just like walking, just like running. Show you an easy way to get in and out of the boat. That's probably when they're the most unstable for many people. Always keep your weight in the center of the boat because the boat's very small. To get out, if you're up in the shoreline, you can put one hand on the shoreline and one foot right in the center of the boat, always in the center. And all you have to do is lift up on that one foot and step right out. Get back in, and just put the one foot right in the center and spot yourself down. Okay. Everybody see that? Is that easy enough? Very easy. So you're standing on the shoreline. See if I can get a solid shoreline here, I'll show you. Okay, here's a solid shoreline. I'll get my foot under me and lift up, step out, step up. Get in, there's my boat. Put my foot right in the center. I've got one foot here yet, so I've got stability. The other boat can slide around all at once, and I've got my foot on land. No problem. So if it's a fast running stream or rapids, it doesn't matter. One foot in the center. Then I replace that foot with my hand and just get in, sit down. Very easy.
Yeah.
A little practice and you'll get it. It's no big deal.
Okay.
Don't touch the boat, you're touching the boat. Okay, remember to put your weight down and put your hand where your foot is then.
You want to get me up?
No, you're going in right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. Go ahead. Sit in your boat. Get in your boat. Nope, you're touching the boat. Don't touch the boat. Put your hand, nope. Remember, put your hand where your foot is.
Oh,
yes. Don't touch, yeah. Okay, all right, yeah, okay. Now get out. Without touching the boat. Get that foot underneath you. Yep, and step out. You got it. Okay, now practice that, in and out. Without touching the boat. Okay. One thing not to do, you notice how I pulled the boat up parallel to the shoreline, so there's no tension on the boat. The boat's always floating in the water when your weight's in it. Some people like to ram the bow up on the shoreline and then get in and get out that way. It's very hard for the boat because when you have the boat suspended and you step in it, the bottom of the boat is taking all of your weight, all of your pressure, and you're going to end up cracking it. This is fiberglass and it's very brittle. Mm-hmm. It has its own flexibility, but it can't handle your weight. So the boat should always be suspended in the water when you're getting in and out of it. Come up parallel to the shoreline. Now if you saw me, if you have a tight spot, if you're not able to go in at an angle, you can go like this and pull yourself right up to the shoreline very easily. And to push off, you can do the reverse. can get out like this if you're in a tight spot. Very easy. So when you get in the water, you practice this, just going back and forth like this. You see how I'm doing that? The paddle in the water, you angle the front of the paddle this way, push up like this, and you angle it back the other way, push back like this, and you're just going back and forth. Two basic types of canoe paddles. This is called a beaver tail style because it's nice and wide, broad, and this is called an otter tail style because it's narrow and long. The otter tail style is designed for deep water. Some of them are even longer than this. You can get them twice as long so that you can dig down and get a real good bite in deep water. For open water, big lakes, otter tail style is usually used. For waters like this that are shallow where you're doing a lot of maneuvering, this is best because you don't have to have very deep water. This boat floats in about this much water. It's all it takes. You can see that I'm not sinking very much in the water here. And this paddle gets a good bite in the water right away. You just have to get a quarter or a half of the paddle in and you've got good maneuverability. With just half of the paddle in the water, I can maneuver pretty well here. Not a problem. And I'm going to show you some basic strokes. That doesn't mean you're going to be using them much because it's just like walking. Every step is unique. Same with paddling, especially in waters like this where you're maneuvering all the time. You're speeding up, slowing down, going around curves, avoiding stumps in the water. You're going to be using a lot of modified strokes. When you're practicing, spend equal amount of time on each side of the boat with your paddle so that you get used to being able to switch and being able to do everything on either side. If you're going through a rock garden, for example, you might be able to paddle on this side better here and on this side better here. You're not going to have a lot of width. Or a very narrow stream, you're going to be switching back and forth. First of all, with the basic stroke, you're using triangulation. You notice that I'm forming a triangle here with my two arms in the paddle. You're going to pick a paddle that has an arm the same length as your arm, just like this one here. When you run it up like this, right here, this should come right to your shoulder joint, right here. This one's too long for me. It's about this much too long. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It's this much too long. It should come right to my shoulder joint when I'm holding it like this. Just run it up like that. It's too long. I should be holding it right here. And to paddle, keep your arms as straight as possible because you're not fatiguing your arms when you're paddling then. You stick the paddle straight in the water with the arm vertical. You don't want to paddle out like this because the more you paddle off to one side, the boat's going to turn in the opposite direction. So you keep your paddle up straight, dig down, do a full stroke with a follow through, and then hold the paddle in the water because this is where you steer, where you maneuver. Okay, now I'm going to turn the top of my paddle outward toward you. See, I'm turning toward you. Turn the paddle the other way, away from you, and I'm turning in the other direction. So with every stroke, I'm doing a turn. Now a quick turn, say I'm going down a stream and there's a rock dead ahead and I want to turn that way. Put my paddle up as far as possible and just dig into the water. See how I'm turning into the shoreline? Same with the other direction. Paddle up as far as possible and grab onto the gunnel with the paddle so that you have stability. I'll come at you so you can see it. See, I'm coming toward you and I want to turn to the north real quickly. I'll grab onto the bow, grab onto my paddle, and the bow of the boat turns real quickly. See it? Virtually no effort. The stability you want to gain there, especially if you're going fast or if you're going down a rapid, comes from you hanging onto the gunnel. So you have the strength of a boat. all you're doing is using your hand as a vice grip here to attach the paddle to the boat. If you're just holding onto it like this, your paddle could hit a rock or the rapids could pull the paddle out of your hand. Come down and grip right away and extend as far forward as possible, because the farther forward you go, the faster you're going to turn. Don't do it back here. Extend yourself way out. Just lean forward like this. Okay, and if you want to turn the stern of your boat, you can do the same thing, except backwards. Lean backwards and hold on like this. And that pushes the stern of your boat out. And of course, you're pulling your paddle out of the water, but if you need to, you can extend your paddle, do a sweep, go right around the back, keep sweeping, extend around again, sweep, and go in a full circle pretty quickly if you need to. And now you're heading upstream. Lean your paddle back as far as possible like this and give it a broad sweep. Reach out as far as you can. Go over your boat. Sweep the other way, reaching out as far as you can. Just keep going around in a circle like this. And you can turn on a dime very quickly. Okay, two important things to remember that fit with just about anything you're going to be doing with stealth paddling is to do everything right beside the boat here. You shouldn't have to do any reaching out. Do everything right beside the boat. And that is so that you can be as compressed as possible, so that you can fit into tight spaces, so that you're not creating a big echo effect. Everything right beside the boat, right here. Second, avoid wrapping your thumb around either place. Keep your thumb and your fingers all together and wrap your hand around. There are a couple of important points there. One is that you have a lot of flexibility with your paddle then. You have to hold very little, just apply pressure to the paddle. You don't even have to wrap your fingers around the paddle in order to move. Secondly, for people who've done much craft work, you know that this tendon right in here is very fragile. When you do a lot of paddling, you end up with blisters here, and you end up with irritation here. So protect that area. Palm of your hand is a whole lot more resilient than the crux of the thumb and the forefinger. So do everything like this as much as possible. Let's see, what else can I show you? Oh, silent paddling. Sometimes we want to be quiet, be stealthy. If you want to count coup on a turtle, this is very helpful. You don't pull your paddle out of the water, because every time you do, you're breaking the surface, you're dripping, you're causing noise. Keep your paddle in the water. Paddle just like you normally would. And do your adjustment at the end, turning your paddle either outward or inward to steer. And then keep the blade of the paddle in the water. Have it knife through the water like this, and dig down again. Just keep your paddle in the water at all times so you can paddle silently. If you pull your paddle forward with the blade just above the water so that it cuts through, it won't make any noise. Then sink it down, pull forward, pull the paddle up again, cut it through the water, and down again right alongside your boat. Up again, down again, up again. Same thing all the way through. Silent and efficient. Another power stroke, where you keep the paddle completely in, is to do this, just back and forth right beside your boat. What I'm doing is cutting down like this as I'm going. Just cutting downward each time I'm going back and forth. See that? And you can go pretty fast this way once you get going without taking your paddle out of the water. There are several ways to portage the boats, carry them. The way I like best is to just grab it like this, lift it up, and keep it on my hand and let my hand rest on my shoulder. If I let the boat rest on my shoulder, it's going to dig in. The gunnel here is going to dig in, so I just let it rest on my shoulder. Very easy to handle. Just plop in the water when I get there. They're so light. Very easy. If you're going any distance, you can put your sleeping bag on your shoulder, or sleeping bag. Your life.
Oh man, you gave it away.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll
Multiple usage of gear, you know. Now put this on your shoulder, and it's not too bad. When one side gets tiring, switch over to the other side, switch over to the other side. Another way to do it is to pull down with both hands like this. It's pretty easy. You can rest it on your head. It rests pretty easily if you get a center spot on your head. Another way, can I have 2 paddles? Is to cross the paddles like this, and have a paddle blade on each shoulder. So the paddle blades, whoa. Okay. There you go. So the paddle blades are resting on your shoulders, which disperses the weight nicely. Another way to carry them, if there are 2 of you and you've got a lot of space, move up here, is that one of you gets in the front and one behind. You can grab 2 boats like this with your gear inside the boats, and 2 in front, and carry pretty easily. You can walk that way. Yeah,
Especially with
it's
gear.
impossible going through the woods because you need a broad breath to do it. But it's an easy way to go when you're out in the open. Well, what are your reflections on what you picked up on your first canoeing experience, at least here together, this kind of canoeing?
I mean, it's great. I have fun with it, and I can see, like when I use different strokes than just the normal or like a little to the side, I can do so much more to navigate through the whatever hummocks and whatever there is. Yeah. Tiny movements.
I can also see the advantage of the different techniques. I know it takes a while till it's like normal and till everything's just like walking. And I can see it happen that it will be like this, and I look forward to that.